to Faith in Recovery with Anthony Acampora.
Welcome to Banyan's Faith in Recovery radio show. My name is Anthony Acampora. The Faith in Recovery radio show focuses on advice and insight for families of those in addiction and dealing with mental health issues, powerful personal testimonies, and we have one today, that's for sure, guests who are experts in their field. I'm also the director and chaplain at Banyan Treatment Center's Faith and Recovery program. Faith and Recovery is a faith-based drug and alcohol treatment center. We're in Pompano Beach, Florida. We also have locations nationally. The Faith and Recovery program is non-denominational. The program is designed to allow clients to establish or restore their relationship with God while addressing their addiction. If you have someone or you yourself is in need of substance abuse treatment, give us a call at 888-270-5712, 888-270-5712, or you could reach us at banyantreatmentcenter.com or faithandrecovery.com. We have a really special guest here in studio today. He's down here in the studio, and we're blessed to have him. He also, I'm blessed to work with him as well. Whenever he's in town, and we're also communicating all the time and by text and things. So he's just an amazing guy. Truly blessed to work with him at Banyan Treatment Center. He has such a powerful story and powerful testimony, and he's just so transparent and genuine. He's just an amazing guy. He is the New York Times best-selling author, addiction memoir Dreamseller. He was an MTV celebrity. He was an alumnus of the Jackass motion picture series, former professional skateboarder, and now travels the country for Banyan Treatment Center as an addiction recovery public speaker. He's just an incredible guy, and I'm just blessed to even know who he is and know him personally. Welcome to Banyan's Faith and Recovery radio show, Brandon Novak.
Thank you for having me. You know, it's funny, I'm listening to all those titles that I possess, and the most important title is usually left out, and that most important title is a person in long-term recovery. Because they told me this last time, the 13th time when I walked into an inpatient treatment center begging for a bed, they said, anything that you put in front of your recovery does not or will not matter because you will lose it. And I couldn't grasp that until I kept doing that over and over and over. And then finally I came in, and I keep that up front because that allows me to remember where I come from.
Yes.
And because the reality is, statistics state, theoretical evidence dictates that I am to be high or dead right now. The fact that I'm not is A, miraculous, equaling miracle, and B, it defies logic. You're talking to a guy who was an IV heroin and cocaine user for 21 years, drank, smoked, sniffed, ate for 25 years. The 25th of this month, I'm coming up on 3 years of sobriety.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Congratulations coming up on that, Brandon. You know, with our clients sometimes, and I've heard this, sometimes that's such an important point, that whatever you put in front of your recovery, sometimes we have clients and they're starting to do well, and they're starting to learn coping skills, and in our program they're starting to get involved in the Bible and church and praying and stuff like that. And they're so eager to get out there and go. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're not ready. It's almost like an athlete that blows his knee out or something, a football player, and everybody wants you back in the game, and you want to be back in the game, and you're just not ready. And that's kind of, the time is huge with recovery. We can't overemphasize that. So the more time you could have sober and you're rehabilitating, the better of a chance that you have. And
Absolutely.
So many times people want to run back to their job and run back to their family, and it's like, you were no good to them before when you were using.
Yeah.
Why are you going to take that chance? Give it time.
I'm really good at playing devil's advocate because for 20 years, I went to my first treatment center at 17. I walked into my 13th at 35. For 20 years in and out of treatment centers. And I'm really good at playing devil's advocate because it makes sense to me why after 7 days, 14 days, they think they're ready to go back because I've seen me do that.
Yes.
But I also understand the flip side of that coin, how powerful the disease of addiction is. I know it through and through. So check me, follow me here. If you're diagnosed as an addict or an alcoholic, this is factual evidence. It cannot be debated. It's in any medical book that you want to look in. If you're diagnosed as an addict or an alcoholic, that disease left untreated equals death, fatal, right? That's it. But as far as I'm aware of, it's only fatal disease that tells me that I don't have a disease on a daily basis, and it lies to me in my own voice. So follow me. You diagnose me with HIV, I'm rushing to the hospital to get medication. I don't want to die. Fatal disease.
Right.
Diagnose me with cancer, I'm rushing to the hospital to get chemo. I don't want to die. Fatal disease. Diagnose me as an addict or an alcoholic. I need a glass of wine or a bag of heroin to figure out what's wrong with you for diagnosing with said
Yes,
disease.
exactly.
Just as fatal as the first two diseases, but left to my own devices. And what that looks like, my own devices, looks like Brandon attends Brandon's Anonymous, Brandon sponsors Brandon, and Brandon is Brandon's God. For the life of me, how am I back on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Patterson Park selling my body for $40?
Amazing.
You know?
Right.
So I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Well, people underestimate the power of addiction.
Wow.
Right? It's underestimated. It's like not giving enough credit when you go, well, I got this now. You hear that over and over.
Yeah.
I say, don't say you got it. Say he's got
Yeah.
it. Point up.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's really the one that's got it. And, you know, we don't have it. Right?
No, not, if I had it, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have went to treatment. I wouldn't be in recovery if I could do this thing on my own. But you know, trying to help somebody or give them different avenues to recover is such a touchy process of touch and go. Because addicts such as myself, for years I knew everything. So therefore, when you told me what I need to do, I tell you I need to F off because I know. And what I learned at my 13th treatment center is that I know that I don't know. And my very best thinking got me here. So when I'm trying to help somebody, even though I have from A to Z mapped out, every move is accounted for, when I deliver this idea or concept to the potential person that's going to receive this help, I have to present it in such a manner that they feel like they came up with it. Because it's their idea.
Right.
If it was, the reason why I did so bad in so many treatment centers, so many psychiatrists' offices, so many doctors' offices, so many 12-step programs, is because it wasn't my idea.
Yeah.
If it was my idea, I would have excelled at a rapid pace and been a billboard for Banyan Treatment Center.
Yeah.
I would have done a billboard for any 12-step meeting. But it wasn't my idea.
Right.
You know?
It's kind of like, it reminds me of the line of thinking. I grew up Catholic in the Northeast, and I had to go to church. I had to be an altar boy. I had to go to Catholic school. Even if I did like it, I still wouldn't have wanted to do it because my parents wanted me to do it. So you rebel against it. But like what you said, when it's your idea, wow, what a difference.
The whole term of the contract changed.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing with Banyan. And that's why I love Banyan more so. I get offers from people to ask me to come work at the treatment centers on a daily basis, and you couldn't pay me enough to do it. Because Banyan truly believes in the people, not only the clients, but their employees. So what we pride ourselves in doing is meeting the client where they're at.
Yes.
Not telling them to conform to where we feel they should be at.
Exactly.
We meet them with where they're at, and what we do is we present to them a lot of different options. And what that allows them to do is pick which option they think it might be best, whether it's the Christian-based faith, whether it's smart recovery, whether it's 12-step recovery. Whatever one we have, we let you pick. Therefore, it's now your idea, which gives you some like motivation to want to do this.
Absolutely. One of the things we get that the most from former clients, and it's even on our website, on the I think it's on the Faith and Recovery website, a former client that we had, and he gave a little testimonial, and he said, they weren't jamming it down my throat, the whole faith thing, and that's why I responded to it. And it's so key, because if you force somebody, whether it's faith-based or whatever it is, even if it's 12-step, and like you got to do this, and this is what you have to do, people, they're going to rebel against that. You're so used to rebelling against any type of authority or anybody who's telling you what to do.
Yeah.
So that approach that you have is amazing, and it's powerful, and it works.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, you have such insight. Plus, they already know you from all of these shows and everything, the movies and everything, so you have such street cred.
And you're right, and that's where my defects have become my biggest assets, because they've seen me do what I do in the public spotlight for years. And now they're seeing me sober, living this life without the use of a drink or a drug. And I always say sobriety's given me everything that drugs and alcohol promised me. So I'm not like, hey, you need to go to treatment. What I do is attraction rather than promotion. If they're a fan of me or my work, they follow me, they see what I do on a daily basis. And I'm like, you know, I just got back from Spain. I took my mother on a cruise to the Bahamas. All these things, because the reason why is because I gave up everything in the world for one thing. For 20 years. Everything in the world I gave up for heroin. And when I went to treatment, they said, why don't you just give up that one thing for 90 days and let's see what you can accomplish. And I did that. And I no longer live in that self-induced prison that consists of a 4-block radius that costs me $10 to get out of on a daily basis. I can literally go anywhere with anybody anytime I want, and I'm not dictated by a bag or a bottle or a needle.
I mean, there's a verse in the Bible, it's in 1 Peter, and it says you become slaves to whatever controls us, right? And I relate to that so well, just like from the gambling aspect, because I became a slave to that. Not just the drinking, but I had tickets to the Super Bowl one time, and my friends are coming by. We have amazing seats. I always wanted to go to the Super Bowl. There was no reason for me to stay sitting at a blackjack table drinking, and I did. For 8 hours, I couldn't pry myself away for no reason. It wasn't the drinking, because I would have drank at the Super Bowl. And I look back at it now, and it's like insane. Why wouldn't I just get up and go, you know? I couldn't. Because
Using
I was
against your will.
Exactly. I became a slave to whatever was controlling me, and at that time, it was gambling. You know?
Hence the fact, if I was powerful enough to overcome that, I would not be here.
Right.
It took a power greater than myself and yourself to lift you from that blackjack table, to lift me from the streets of Baltimore City, literally doing whatever it took shy of homicide to get another one. And the only reason why I never committed a homicide is because the opportunity never presented itself. Right. It's not that I'm a tough guy, that I'm a thorough guy, that I'm cut from that cloth. It's that I suffer from the disease of addiction. And when I have the disease that I suffer from, I don't have the kind of disease where I have the privilege to say, hey, I don't want to do that right now because I might get in trouble. Right. That's the joke. You know what I mean? When that says jump, I say how high.
Exactly. What was that thing, that story? I know you, I've heard you say it about because you had a best-selling book before this one, right?
Yes.
The story when you went and you were selling them or something when you left there.
Yeah. So my book was released in Times Square in New York City at the Barnes & Noble. I was having my book signing release party, and I didn't have any heroin that day, and I had a buddy of mine with me, and he didn't have any heroin. And my literary agent was there, my publishers were there, my managers were there, all these very well-to-do people in the scholarly world. And they didn't give me any money that day because what I didn't know then that I know now is it would not be a good look, me falling asleep from heroin while signing this addiction memoir. And but my disease doesn't know any boundaries. I couldn't say, hold on, disease, I got to work for 2 hours. Right? So as they wheel my boxes of books in, me and my buddy that also doesn't feel good, we take one look at each other, and we don't say a word, but we have a complete conversation, language of the heart. Untreated. I stand up, he stands up in uniform precision. I grab 2 boxes of my books, he grabs 2 boxes of my books. We take off from the book signing, we jump on a train, and we go right back to Baltimore, and I autograph and sign 4 boxes of books to 2 different stores to get money to go buy more heroin. Now I'm selling my own addiction memoir books, which I just recently stole from my released book signing party in Times Square in New York City to go back to Baltimore and buy more heroin.
Amazing.
How that wasn't I wasn't the kid in 7th grade that put my hand up and said, you know what, Teach? When I become 21 and 19, I want to be a homeless heroin addict, letting men do things to me for money. I had dreams, I had ambitions, I had goals, and I was very successful to that point. I was pretty successful even through drinking and drugging until I was no longer successful. Drinking and drugging was fun until it no longer became fun. They went from a party to a full-time job that paid nothing but pain and misery.
Oh, wow. Well said. Well said. That is so true. You know, that's really all it is. It's all you get in return from it. You know, we're going to need to take a quick break. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Banyan's Faith and Recovery radio show with Brandon Novak as a guest here. We'll be right back.
Are you struggling with addiction or mental health disorders? Banyan Treatment Center's Faith and Recovery program helps people at the depths of their despair, spreading the word that recovery is possible through the power of Christ.
Cry out to him. Where are you, God? Where are you? I don't feel you. Where's your presence? Why are you allowing this to happen? He already knows our thoughts anyway. We might as well just put it out there.
Program Director Anthony Acampora will help you discover how God can turn your mess into your message. Call Banyan Treatment Center for help now. 888-230-3122. Again, that's 888-230-3122.
Welcome back to Banyan's Faith and Recovery show. My name is Anthony Acampora. Having a great conversation here with Brandon Novak, and he just said something so powerful right before. He said, you know, addiction is a full-time job, and the only thing that it pays is pain and misery. And that was powerful. And I was going to try to steal that and say I came up with it, but, you know, I didn't want to do that.
But I'm in the room with you. You're not a good liar. You have to wait until I at least leave.
It doesn't work when the guy's sitting right there. Well, I used to have a friend that used to say the hilarious things, but he was really quiet, and he would say it like under his breath. And I would always say it, and everybody would be laughing, and they'd be like, no, that's my joke. I said that. It was good stuff. But yeah, no, Brandon came up with that one. It was really good. He's got copyrights on that. That's a great. You should put that on like the cover of one of your books.
Yeah.
Brandon, let me ask you this. tell us about, we talked about a lot of the bad stuff and the dark side of it. Tell us about what sobriety has given you now.
Wow. There's not enough time in the day. I'll hit the highlights.
Yeah.
Sobriety has given my mother her son back, my brother his brother back, my sister her brother back, my nieces and nephews their uncle back. 9 years into my process of sobriety, my mother called me. This is the same woman that served me with a restraining order at the end of my run. Police came around the corner, handed me a restraining order. She said, you no longer can stay here. I will no longer love you to death. You have to leave. She called me 9 months into the process. She said, Brandon, I hate when you come to visit. I said, why? She said, because I get so sad when you leave. You know, I now work in the field of drug and alcohol treatment where I firmly believe I went through what I went through to be in the position that I am today to do what I do. I'm very well qualified to do what I do.
Absolutely.
You know, and I have a PhD in like heroin. You know,
and it's life experience. And what I've seen with mental health or addiction, I've heard this many times. People will say, unless you went through it, if you start telling me about it and you just studied about it, it turns right off.
Yeah.
My ears open up when I talk to somebody that went through it. I've heard that many times. And you've gone through so much, and it's been documented and everything. But I want to just touch on the family a little bit, because sometimes, you know, when we're in active addiction, a lot of the focus is self. You're not worrying about people. It hurts you, but you know, the addiction takes precedence over everything,
yes.
right? So you know that you're hurting people, and that's where all that guilt and shame and all that stuff floods in when you're in treatment, because all of it comes back to you.
Yeah.
And then you realize how much you hurt people and the things that you did. But for the families out there that are suffering and that have loved ones that are dealing with this, you know, addiction, you know, what advice could you give them? Like, just from maybe your mom's perspective or things like that. That's, I think it's such a hopeful story with you, because you went from the mountaintop to the valley and back to the mountaintop again. And like me, I don't care about the titles. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the stock options. This is so rewarding, and it's such an amazing company, Banyan, with such incredible people, that it doesn't matter what the amount is or what the position is or any of that thing. I did that. I was miserable.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had the money. I've had, and I've let the money and the property and the prestige divert me from my primary purpose, which is staying sober one day at a time, so many times. And through my experience, it's shown me that I was a millionaire 3 times over between the ages of 23 and 24. But at the same time, I was a strung-out heroin addict, and I never was so lonely and wanted to kill myself and strung out in my life. So this time when I got clean, all I wanted to do was not feel how I felt. What really changed for me this time is I walked into that 13th inpatient treatment center without a plan. Every time I talk to a newcomer, guy, sponsor, I'm like, what's your plan? And I sit back and I love to hear their plans. Because really what this whole case is of my addiction, like I said to you in the first episode, I believe God is everything, good, bad, or indifferent. I think he's everything. All it turned out for me was a big case of being divinely inconvenienced. These were inconveniences sent directly from my higher power, which has led me to becoming a child of God. God of my understanding brought me to a 12-step program. The 12-step program brought me back to the God of my understanding.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing how that works and how that could happen. And it usually takes a lot of pain and suffering for us to get to that. For years, I was in California, director of corporate security. I thought I had everything. I had all this money and all this title and all this stuff. I really had nothing. I was completely broken spiritually. I didn't realize it. I was blind, right, spiritually. And my sister used to call me and start telling me this stuff about the Bible and things, and I literally wouldn't even put the phone to my ear. I thought I didn't need anything other. I thought it was me. Sure. You know, I was prideful. I did this. I accomplished this. Why would I want to hear about this stuff? I did that for a long period of time. And then after you become so broken and you're in that dark place, now I wanted to hear a call. I wanted to hear what you had to say.
The gift of desperation,
yes.
God.
Yes.
You know, I did the same thing, and what it looks like for me is social acceptability equal personal recovery. Furthermore, ensuing filling that internal void with the external solution. Because from a very young age, my mother always said to me, show me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are.
Yes, yes. My father used to say that. It's in my book. Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. Right? And I never listened growing up because that's
No.
what we do. You know,
Yeah.
you don't listen. And you know how you know that's true? If you're on Facebook, you get a friend request from somebody you don't really know, what's the first thing you do? You look at who their friends are.
Yeah.
And that's how you can tell how you know them.
Yeah.
You know, I know them from Connecticut, I know them from California, I know them from... So, I mean, it's so true. Let's talk about that a little bit because that's so important. Because we have clients that do phenomenal in treatment. And you see the change, and you see their eyes are different, and you see they're getting engaged in the program and they're learning. And as soon as they go back out, if they go back to those same people, places, and things, tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. It is so difficult to stay on track and stay sober if you're around people that are pulling you back to do those same types of behaviors.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what would happen with me over and over. And it wasn't a malicious thing. My friends would just be like, what the heck happened to you? What is this Bible stuff you're posting? What are you doing? We're going out. Come on, we miss you. They just miss who you were.
Yeah.
Now, if you have an addictive personality like we do, it turns into a total disaster and nightmare. You know, for us, I don't want to be the person that I used to be. Yeah, I had some fun times and stuff, but no.
Well, here's the reality, how I see it, how I view it, the glasses that I have on. What I'm doing and what you're doing, what we're doing in this treatment industry world is we're selling a product, right? So I have to sell this product to you. I have to get you hit, hook, line, and sinker. I'm selling you this product, and it's almost like we're used car salesmen, right? But the difference is we're not selling lemons. We're selling brand new car with 0 miles for $0. So I have to like present this to you in a way that it makes sense to you and makes it appealing to you to get you to hook. So when I was in that position, I bought hook, line, and sinker, right? There was no defiancy out of me, not because I was beaten so bad, and I was willing to do whatever you said. So I bought it hook, line, and sinker. And they talked about, in the beginning, you know, triggers, people, places, and things. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm like the real deal junkie. My triggers are when my eyelids open. I'll justify why any place, feeling, keyboard, cup of coffee makes sense to get high over, and I'll do it, right? So I bought it hook, line, and sinker. And the reality is when I got out of treatment, I didn't have to change my people. I didn't have to change my places. I didn't have to change my things because one thing happened very imperative here. My interest had changed. Right? So I was no longer interested in going to the bar and hanging out all night, sniffing cocaine, shooting heroin all night. And these people that were my old friends, they were no longer interested in doing what I'm doing. They don't want to go to meetings. They don't want to go fellowship without a drink or a drug. Right. So I never had to call them and say, hey, we can't be friends. We kind of just went in our own direction. Yeah. And the beautiful thing is we're still just as good of friends now as we were then, without saying, hey, I can't be your friend. Right. Our interests just changed. Exactly. You know, we developed. I developed. They stayed still. Who knows what they did? But I'm just no longer interested in doing that. I found new things in life that get me high.
That's great. That's great. I have a lot of good relationships because one thing that's really difficult when you hear, oh, you got to change everything, you got to get rid of these people. And it's like, what do you mean get rid of these people? I've known them since I was in 3rd grade. What do you mean I'm not supposed to talk to them anymore? And I have friends now that from 3rd grade and junior high and everything that call me, well, hey, my son's smoking pot. What do I do? Hey, could you pray for this person? Hey, what does this mean in the Bible? And so I'm still friends with them, but it's just a different dynamic, like you're saying. It's a different relationship. You don't have to just never talk to these people again. Yeah. They're not bad people. No. They're just, you can't be around them sometimes.
And the reality is how dare I expect that I got sober that the rest of the world has to be sober? Exactly. That's unrealistic.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Brandon, I want to get to a couple of things here. Tell us a little bit about this book set that's coming out and the graphic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have the first ever addiction graphic novel. Nice. Coming out June 1st. The Chronicles of Brandon Novak.
Beautiful.
And then I'm proofreading my 3rd book right now. See, that's one of the things sobriety's given me. After I stole my first books from my first book signing, I went and sold to buy more heroin. I had a 3-book contract deal. They ripped the contract up on site. 9 months ago, my 2nd book came out. Yeah. I'm proofreading my 3rd book. I have 3 more books that will be coming out. I have the first ever addiction graphic novel coming out. I have a documentary going to the Sundance and the Cannes Film Festival. This isn't me bragging or boasting. No. This is me simply saying, if you want what I have, do what I do, and you can get what I got. This knowledge is open and free for the taking, provided you just get out of your way.
Absolutely.
And I can, you can help me.
Right. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. I encourage everyone out there to get these books, check these things out. You know, look them up. Brandon Novak, look them up online. get this stuff because it could really impact your life or your loved one's life that's dealing with this. What a great conversation. Thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you.
If you or you know someone who is in need of treatment, please take that leap of faith. Go on faithandrecovery.com or banyantreatmentcenter.com, 888-270-5712. I'm Anthony Acampora. This is Banyan's Faith and Recovery radio show with an amazing guest we had on, Brandon Novak. Join us every Saturday or Sunday at 1:30 on The Word, 94.9 FM or AM 950, or at 9:30 a.m. on 970 AM FaithTalk Atlanta. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Brandon, for just amazing insights. Psalm 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. God bless you. God bless you, Brandon.
Thank you.